Hi everyone, I'm Amanda and I'll be presenting about technological sovereignty as a solution to make more ethical cities. I want you to all imagine a woman living in Beijing, China. She uses her phone daily for work, to pay for groceries, and to connect with friends. But unlike us sitting here, she can't access Google, WhatsApp, or independent news sources. She doesn't question it, it's simply how her life works. The CCP, through its monopoly on digital infrastructure, shapes what information flows in and out. And just like highways control physical movement, technology controls the flow of information. And who controls that infrastructure controls society. We can all recognize that cities can't function without roads, sewers, or electricity. But in the 21st century, technology is also infrastructure. Platforms like Google Maps, WeChat, or Uber shape how we live our lives. But unlike water or electricity, most of this digital infrastructure is owned and controlled by private corporations or authoritarian states. Now, this raises critical ethical questions. Who controls our data? Who benefits from it? And can cities take that control back? Technological sovereignty is the idea that citizens and local communities should control the digital infrastructure platforms and the data they rely on. Currently, we operate in a global climate where technological sovereignty is sparse. The big tech industry has an immense grip on Western nations, where citizens have little ability to avoid the vast data harvesting that shapes our online discourse and advertising. In China, their technology is entirely centrally owned, where state-directed platforms like WeChat and Alibaba reinforce censorship and information control. In both of these cases, local citizens are losing their agency to forces larger than themselves. Technological sovereignty aims to restore autonomy through transparent platforms and open source code. It ensures privacy through data localization and community ownership, as opposed to multinational corporations tracking our online activity. And it aims to build legal frameworks that prioritize user privacy to serve the people. It's ethical because it restores the right to self-determination in the digital sphere. It is just because it rebalances the power away from profit-maximizing corporations and unaccountable state actors. And it's people-centered because it envisions a digital world built around the needs, rights, and the voices of our community. One of the clearest examples of people-centered digital infrastructure is the Decode project in Barcelona. Decode stands for Decentralized Citizen-Owned Data Ecosystem. It gives citizens greater control over their data using technology like blockchain and cryptographic tools, so that individuals themselves can decide who can access their information and for what purpose. Now, unlike major platforms like Meta or TikTok, which obscure how user data is sold, Decode is built on open source principles. Anyone can inspect the code, and there is full transparency in how the data is handled. There are no hidden algorithms, no third-party ad deals. The Santilo platform is an example of sovereign technology as a part of Barcelona's Decode project. It's an open-source sensor and actuator platform for bicycles, but it is maintained by the community, not by a private firm nor by the federal government. You can see here the design documents, and you can easily download the source code from their website for free, promoting transparency in how their technology is maintained and operated. This Decode Sovereignty project has made Barcelona a model for ethical urban digital infrastructure. Looking ahead, the EU is taking steps to support this movement. Laws like the GDPR and the Digital Markets Act support ethical innovation. The DMA specifically targets giant companies which control access to digital markets. It forces them to open the playing field to smaller and more ethical tech alternatives, allowing communities to build these local platforms. But hurdles still remain, a major one being tech lobbying from multinational corporations like Meta or Google. These companies invest heavily in lobbying EU institutions to dilute or delay reforms that would limit their data collection or force them to open up their platforms. In 2024 alone, the top 10 tech firms spent over 60 million euros lobbying the EU. This threatens to turn well-meaning regulations into watered-down compromises. Alongside this, budgets often limit the ability to maintain local digital infrastructure. Open source code depends on public funding or volunteers. Geopolitical tensions also threaten progress, with global power struggles in cloud computing and hardware exports from both the US and China. These dependencies make it difficult for local governments to build truly independent systems. Still, the idea is spreading. Digital infrastructure should be for the people and by the people. Whether it's through profit or propaganda, the centralization of digital infrastructure threatens our autonomy. But cities like Barcelona show us that an alternative is possible, one that is ethical, democratic, and people-centered. And just as we demand clean water and safe roads, we must now demand just and sovereign technology.